Today we're gonna make the best carrot cake. It is soft and moist and flavored with cinnamon and just the right amount of carrot. I have it paired with a beautiful cream cheese frosting, and it's just perfection. It's not the easiest method. It's not a whisk it all in the bowl and dump it in the pan, but it does make the best textured carrot cake. If you're enjoying my video, hit the subscribe button below and click the bell so that you're notified every time I post a new delicious recipe. Let's get into it. Carrot cake. So obviously the first step we need to do is peel our carrots and prep them to go into the cake. I like to just do this on parchment paper because it makes the cleanup really easy, and I'm all about easy cleanup. I don't bother to cut off the top because you're just going to grate it, so it really doesn't matter. You know, it's really hard to tell how much carrot you're gonna need. I always kind of add an extra one, just like one skinny one or something. And we're just gonna grate right on our parchment paper. And I'm just going to kind of cut off like a so, you know? Not really like stressing about it. You shouldn't either. This is carrot cake. You're like, this looks like a lot of carrot. It is a lot of carrot. But we are going to squeeze it to get out any of that extra juice, moisture. And then we're also going to basically have just enough batter to encapsulate our carrots. So it's like, you know, it's a carrot cake. Wipe the sweat from your brow because you are a badass. And also our work is not done. So we are gonna squeeze this, like I said. I'm gonna use cheesecloth because I have it, but if you can't find yours or you don't have any, then that's fine. You can use paper towels. Okay, lay that inside your bowl. The bowl is just to make it easier to put the carrot in. It is easier to squeeze in batches, so I'm gonna do that. So take your little packet of carrot and squeeze. This is gonna stay in your hands. If you have gloves, use them. Now, you can save this juice, which is what I'm gonna do, and drink it. Why not? Pop that in my bowl here. So I'm using 9-inch pans because that's what I have. I'd rather use 8-inch pans, but you know, here we are. They're just gonna be a little thinner, and I am going to line it with parchment. So in order to do that easily, I'm gonna take my pan, and then I'm going to draw. Yes, this marks your pan. Do we care? I don't. And you cut inside the Sharpie or marker, whatever you used, to make sure that it lines the pan nicely. I've got my best friend Vegeline here, and I'm gonna spray in my pan. And then I will place my parchment paper inside. So this cake, I'll tell you a little secret, the reason that it's better than all the other carrot cakes is because of its mixing method. So this is a whole egg foam. You're like, what? All that means is we're gonna beat our sugar and our whole eggs. So our whole eggs and our sugar together, and we're gonna whip those up really well to what's called the ribbon stage. So I like to go ahead and kind of pre-mix this up so that the eggs don't start to coagulate. In our stand mixer, we have our whisk attachment, and we're gonna beat this on high. I know it's distracting, but while this is mixing, we are going to whisk together our dry ingredients. So I've got my AP flour here. You can also use pastry flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, cinnamon, a lot of cinnamon. Whisk that together really well. Set it aside. And then we're just gonna wait for our eggs. Okay, so our eggs have tripled in volume, and they're a light pale, and I'm just gonna show you. So what I mean by the ribbon stage is basically when you take the batter and then you draw it across itself, it holds a ribbon before it falls back into the batter. So I'm just gonna try and show you. We're gonna use canola oil, some very neutral flavored oil because you can taste it in the final batter if you use something else. And then lemon juice, which is part of the secret ingredient here as well. Then we are going to turn this back on high. And we're going to slowly drizzle this in. We're making an emulsion, much like mayonnaise, salad dressing, like all of those things. So if you overwhelm the batter with your oil or your fat, then it will just deflate and it will never mix in. Okay, it's all in. It is all in. It's all emulsifying, and so we are going to dispense with our whisk. So we've got our ingredients whisked in here, and we're just going to add them like a third, half at a time. You know, you want to fold it in, but you also want to, you want to preserve the natural aeration from the eggs. So you don't want to mix it all the way in, so when you have, it's almost mixed in, then you'll add your next batch. You want to make sure that you whisk this in completely before you add your carrots, because baking soda, when it comes into contact with carrots, will turn them green. So back in the day, I actually made a green carrot cake by accident. Would have been great for St. Patty's Day, I suppose, but it was unintentional and upsetting. All right, so now we've incorporated our dry ingredients. Without further ado, we're going to incorporate our carrots, and then you're going to fold these in. If you wanted to add walnuts or pecans to your carrot cake, this would be the time to do that. You want to make sure that they are toasted and cooled and chopped. Okay, so now we have our batter. She's beautiful. She is ready to go into our prepared pans. Scale your pans. Here we are. So obviously get this in there. If you do have a scale, it is worth the extra step just because then you know that they will bake evenly. All right, so I'm just gonna spread it out with this spatula. You can grab an offset if you'd like. Into the oven we go. It's preheated. 350 degrees convection. Get her in. So our cakes are out of the oven. They baked about 25 minutes. They rose really nicely and they kind of settle flat. It is hard to tell with the cake tester whether or not these done, so it's really very important to kind of test, make sure that the top is golden brown and that it feels kind of set and not loosey-goosey or like it's gonna collapse at any minute. So let's go ahead and pop them out. They've cooled about 15-20 minutes, and they're pretty much cooled completely just because they're they're a thinner layer. Whoop. Now tap it, help it out, and then I just leave it upside down for right now, and go ahead and peel off that parchment. So we're gonna let these cool, make our icing, and then we'll come back. It's time to assemble. So our carrot cakes are cool, and we are ready to assemble them. I've just got a cream cheese buttercream right here, just kind of going with a classic combo, but you could also be really nice with my lemon American buttercream. A little decorator's tip here. I like to make strips to kind of put around the outside, especially if I'm going to decorate directly on top of my cake stand, because you don't want, have to try and spend an hour trying to clean up your cake stand. So just go ahead and whoosh. I'm going to dollop a bit of frosting on the inside. Not a ton because I do want most of it on the outside, but just a little bit in there is good. I'm going to go ahead and spread that out. Just go ahead and just get it nice and even. And so I'm going to take my cake, I'm going to keep it upside down to try and, because the bottom is always flatter than the top, place that on there. All right, and then we are going to take the rest of our frosting, pretty much most of it. I'm gonna leave the sides open to air, and so that you can see that beautiful cake underneath. And then since we're just doing the top, we're just gonna go ahead and kind of spread that out. So you're just gonna wanna make the top look, decorated, whatever works for you, whatever you wanna do or you feel comfortable doing, that's what you should do. I'm just gonna do a little swirl situation. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of cinnamon around the outside. You don't have to do this. This is just optional, kind of, whatever you feel like doing or not doing is fine. It is time to try. Ta-dee! All right, off we go. Ooh, yes. Yes, look at those layers. I mean, is she beautiful or is she beautiful? Oh my goodness, it's so soft. But it's cinnamony and it's light and moist and just really beautifully paired with the cream cheese frosting. To die for.